Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really explosive situation where the highly produced, scripted world of professional wrestling has seemingly collided right into some very real, very personal heartbreak. We're looking at Jey Uso, absolutely one of the biggest names in WWE today, his massive rise to the top, and this intense controversy over a storyline that his own family claims went way, way too far. So it really makes you ask, what happens when sports entertainment scripts actually bleed into real life? That's the core question hanging over the high-stakes drama surrounding this top WWE superstar right now. Look, we all know pro wrestling is a scripted performance, right? It's basically a meticulously crafted soap opera in a ring. But the performers executing these scripts, they're real people. They have real lives off camera. And when those two worlds intersect, well, things can get incredibly complicated. And that brings us to the cold, hard facts of the situation. After 12 years of marriage, WWE superstar Jey Uso's wife, Takesha Travis, filed for divorce in 2026. They share 2 kids together. It's a really sobering reality, and obviously a private matter. But because of the massive nature of sports entertainment, this personal tragedy has been thrust straight into the public spotlight. And honestly, the main reason it's getting so much attention is because of who decided to speak up about it. This whole thing blew up publicly because of a pretty explosive accusation from none other than WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi, who, by the way, just so happens to be Jey Uso's dad. Speaking out on his podcast Off the Top, Rikishi publicly voiced his absolute frustration, squarely placing the blame on WWE's creative writers for this real-life fallout. I mean, he's directly questioning whether the company's TV storylines were literally designed to break up his son's marriage. Now, to truly understand why Rikishi's words carry so much weight here and why this is making such huge waves, we've got to look at the family involved. Part 1, the Anoa'i Wrestling Dynasty. So Jey comes from this legendary lineage that has absolutely dominated professional wrestling for decades. You've got his father, Rikishi, who is a massive star during the Attitude Era. You have his late uncle, the fierce Umaga. His cousin is the iconic WWE champion Yokozuna. And of course, there's his twin brother, Jimmy Uso. Jey, who was born Joshua Samuel Fatu in San Francisco, is of Samoan descent and was literally trained from childhood by his dad and uncle. For Jey Uso, wrestling isn't just a job, it's his family's heritage. But before the bright lights of WWE, Joshua Fatu actually pursued football. He played competitively in high school down in Pensacola, Florida, and then went on to play linebacker at the University of West Alabama from 2003 to 2005. But, when his college football career kind of stalled out, he and his twin brother Jimmy made a pivot. They decided to join the family business. He made his professional debut in 2007 for World Extreme Wrestling, and by 2010, he debuted in WWE's developmental territory, Florida Championship Wrestling, going by the name Jules Uso. Part 2, a record-breaking tag team? 622 days. I really want you to just take that massive number in for a second. That represents the longest male tag team championship reign in WWE history. That developmental start quickly launched Jey and Jimmy to the main roster, where they absolutely took WWE by storm as the Usos. For over a decade, they were the cornerstone of the tag team division. They eventually joined the villainous Bloodline faction led by Roman Reigns from 2020 to 2023, and it was actually during their 5th run with the SmackDown Tag Team Championship that they pulled off this incredible, record-breaking feat. To break down just how incredibly successful they were, they captured the Raw Tag Team Championship 4 times and the SmackDown Tag Team Championship 5 times. But the real pinnacle? Becoming the very first team to ever hold both the Raw and SmackDown titles at the exact same time. They defended them as the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. They were literally at the absolute top of tag team wrestling, even headlining massive events like WrestleMania 39. Part 3, Main Event, Jey Uso. Okay, so after breaking away from the Bloodline and his brother Jimmy, Jey Uso struck out on his own on Monday Night Raw, and his singles career just caught fire. Now, he had already won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal back in 2021, but because he was just so insanely popular and connected so well with the crowd, WWE started placing him in their highest stakes storylines. In September 2024, he won his first ever singles title, the Intercontinental Championship. A few months later, in February 2025, he wins the Men's Royal Rumble. And all of that culminated in April 2025 when he defeated Gunther at WrestleMania 41 to win the World Heavyweight Championship. He had reached the absolute peak of the industry. But as you might guess, with that top spot comes a lot more screen time and much more complex character arcs. Part 4, Fallout of a WWE Storyline. And that brings us to the root of Rikishi's specific frustrations, which really stems from a storyline back in July 2024. Jey Uso's on-screen character started making romantic advances toward Rhea Ripley, who fans affectionately call Mommy. Jey invited her to Waffle House on live TV and basically suggested she deserved better than her current on-screen partner, Dominic Mysterio. Well, Rikishi was absolutely livid about this creative direction. He stated, "Let's write him into a relationship with Mommy. God forbid you guys try to tell them to tongue-kiss each other on WWE Raw." He went on to say that better not happen. Rikishi really felt this scripted romance was just poorly conceived and a direct threat to Jey's actual real-life marriage. The really jarring contrast here is between the scripted world and the real world. On one hand, you have the TV script, Jey is hitting on Rhea Ripley at a Waffle House for pure entertainment. And in that exact same storyline universe, Dominic Mysterio is publicly rejecting and humiliating Liv Morgan on TV. It's all meticulously planned drama meant to pop ratings, right? But on the other hand, you have reality. Jey Uso's real-life wife files for divorce in 2026 after 12 years of marriage and 2 children together. Now, we're just looking at the timeline neutrally here. While Rikishi is drawing a direct line of blame from the TV script straight to the divorce papers, the exact private details of the couple's split do remain their own. But what adds a wild layer of irony to this whole situation is what happened on-screen shortly after. Rhea Ripley eventually patched things up with Dominic Mysterio on television, which basically left Jey Uso out of that romantic storyline completely. The on-screen angle just moved on, the writers pivoted. But the off-screen consequences for Jey during the period surrounding that angle, those seemingly remained permanent. Which really leaves us with this final, pretty provocative thought to ponder. Where exactly should the line be drawn between a performer's scripted character and their real-life relationships? When you're an actor playing a role, how much of your actual life are you expected to risk just for the sake of entertainment? And when a family member cracks foul, who is ultimately responsible? It is such a fascinating, complex collision of fiction and reality, and it really shows just how high the true cost of a storyline can be. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember to keep questioning what you see on the screen.